and friends. Now, man by nature is a peace-loving person, and so do the taxpayer and a weak tax consultant who would like dispute, and particularly a tax dispute. And when it comes to a tax dispute, eyebrows raised. So far as the payment of tax and interest concerned, it's okay. But when it comes to the payment of the, say it is a matter of penalty, it becomes serious. And it becomes all the more serious when the prosecution notice knocks at your doorstep. And we have witnessed flood of show cause notices launching prosecution in the past. Now this situation together with the epidemic COVID-19, I see an opportunity being provided to the taxpayer in the sense that the taxpayer immediately after opening up this lockdown would like to focus more on his earning of livelihood to try to bring back normalcy, and he would not like to get entangled with the vexatious litigation. And when the horrible scene of prosecution notices is there, hanging was over his head. At the same time, the government also has got an opportunity to encash. And particularly when the government has set up a huge target for it, for a collection of as a huge amount of 2 lakh crore. So that goes to show the seriousness the government is having to get a success in the scheme. But friend, then to ensure that success, to have the vishwas or faith of the taxpayer in the government, so that this vivad can be reached to vishwas, it certainly requires clarity. It requires a hassle-free implementation of the scheme. But as we'll go further in my deliberation, we'll see that still there are many gray areas. Although, as Manish ji has referred to the earlier CBDT circular, 55 question answer there, followed by a recent one, I will be touching upon that. But still there are so many gray areas. So that requires a serious consideration on the part of the CBDT. Now today we are here to discuss such type of issues, controversies which are coming in the way and creating obstacle in the success of the scheme. And the professional bodies like All India Federation is playing an important role to work like a to act like a link between the central government on the one hand and the taxpayers on the other. Now coming to the scheme, and I'm sharing my PPT now. I hope all of you are able to see it. Why this scheme? Why this dispute resolution scheme? So we have already discussed. As many as 4.83 lakhs cases are pending today, as the Honorable Finance Minister has noticed. The last scheme was pronounced, if I'm not wrong, in 2016, dispute resolution scheme. So this initiative of the government in the present scenario is certainly laudable. It is a sort of alternative dispute resolution system area. It will help the taxpayer to buy peace and to avoid litigation and to focus more on their business, which is the need of the hour. And I said out of 9.32 lakh crores are stuck up. Government has set up a target to recover so 2 lakh. And now amidst this COVID, which has challenged, put a challenge upon the government, it has become all the more necessary for the government to reach this target. This certainly shall save time and energy from both the side because we are entangled in vexatious litigation. Now, well, friends, I'll take you to the journey so far, the timeline. On 1st of February 2020, Honorable Finance Minister proposed and to introduce a scheme in para 126 of her speech, This was followed of 5th of February when the bill was formally presented before the parliament. The cabinet approved certain amendments with a view to bring more clarity on 12th of February 2020. On 4th of March, this bill was passed, became the act. Then a CBTT circular in the form of FAQ came into picture on the 4th of March 2020. It comprises of 55 questions and answers. And 13th March 20, the bill received the note from the Rajya Sabha. And then it received the assent of the president on 17th March 2020 when the VSP bill became the act and came into force. On 18th March 20, the VSP rules and forms were notified. Thereafter, the government, amidst this COVID-19 and to meet with the challenge to provide relaxation, brought in taxation and other laws relaxation of certain provisions ordinance 2020 on 31st March. So with that, they have extended the time limits to file declaration and to make payment in the scheme, which was either to 31st March 20 to now 30th June 20. Now friends, before coming to the different aspect and before coming to the nuances of the scheme, coming to the various definitions, I think it is better than we should have in mind, bear in mind some basics or say fundas, which I hope will help the person taking a decision, understanding the scheme, and that may all resolve the queries coming to his mind. Firstly, the dispute settlement in the scheme is with reference to one appeal and not with an assessment year. There may be in one assessment year, say 15, 16, the assessee may be an appeal and the department may be an appeal. These are two appeals. Now the assessee has gotten liberty. He has to decide. He may get both the appeals settled. He may get one appeal settled, his own or the department, whatever he's like. Sometimes there are more than two appeals because the reassessment has also might have been completed and assessee might be in appeal. So it is a settlement of one appeal. As a whole, it is to be looked into. All the issues arising in the appeal taken by the assessee and disputed therein, they have to be settled in one go and no pick and choose. I will be further taking that aspect in later. Second is this cutoff date is very important when the appeals are pending, 31st January 20. Together with, except some of the cases of deemed appeal when time limit to file the appeal is there. So that we have to keep in mind, we'll discuss in the later part. And then the order appealed against or the dispute towards which we are thinking of going to opt the VSB, that should be capable of determination of the tax. So I think these points are to be taken into mind. Now, well, friends, coming to the important definitions, the first is the appeal pending. So that is the starter point. Unless dispute is there can't be any resolution and no scheme is there. Now, section 2(1)(a) has defined who is an appellant and who is the person eligible to be covered by the scheme. So in the case of a person where an appeal is pending, when assessed against it may be against the assessment order, it may be against the order of the CIT appeal or against the order of the tribunal or the High Court and so on. So if that is pending on the cutoff date, that is the specified date defined under 219, 31st January 20, that is very important and appeal should remain pending on that date. There is a relaxation now provided in the amended Bill and Act then that a deemed category of appeal is also there. That in case you wanted to file an appeal against the order of the assessing officer before the CIT appeal but could not file and time is still available of 30 days. Similarly, against the order of the CIT appeal, you want to go to the wanted or wants to go to the ITT. And time to file appeal of 60 days is still available on 31st January 20. And so on, then you are an eligible assessee. some of the matters or orders passed, say, for example, order passed by the Commission under 263 is not covered. I will be taking to that aspect later. Then dispute resolution panel, when objection has been filed under 144C of the Act, but the panel has not issued any direction, or where direction though has been issued under 144 subsection 5, but has not passed any order. AO has not passed the consequent order under subsection 13, and they are pending on the cutoff date, then they are eligible. One category of revision application has also been covered. When the assessee is not having filed or having failed to file whatever regular appeal before the appellate forum, he has filed a revision application on and that is remaining pending on 31st January 20. That category is also covered under this. The next important aspect are certain definitions, which are the backbone of the entire scheme in the Act, is the disputed tax. Now, disputed tax is the tax, surcharge, and cess. Under section 2(1)(j), it has been defined, and but it does not include interest and penalty, because the moment you get your tax matter, your quantum matter settled, your disputed income is settled and disputed, then it is only the disputed tax you are required to pay, but the interest and penalty will be getting immunity under section 6. Now, what is the amount of the tax payable? That amount of tax payable under 2(1)(j) has been further elaborated and defined. In the cases where appeal is pending, then assuming that that is going to be decided against you, the entire that tax part is payable. In a case where deemed appeal is there, order is passed and appeal is yet to be filed, then after giving effect to that order, what would be the amount of tax that is relevant? Some other cases like 144C, 264, 251, the subject the income subjected to these proceedings and the disputed tax in relation to such disputed income will be the tax payable. In certain categories where there is say unabsorbed losses and depreciation, then again the subjected amount involved. Now, disputed interest is another category when you can opt for VSV. 2(1)(h) defines. Now, it is the interest, not, it is important to be understood. The interest which is eligible is not charged or chargeable on the disputed tax, and the appeal has been filed by the appellant. So, in other words, it should not be the interest which relate to the disputed income, for the obvious reason that if it relate to the disputed income and you are already there against the quantum addition in appeal, so settlement thereof will automatically lead to the settlement of the interest and the penalty. So that way, section 201 interest, 206C, etc., they will come into picture and you can opt for that. But then 234 ABC like interest can also be challenged, provided you are not there disputing the quantum appeal. If there is no disputed tax, then of course, and you are only in appeal against the levy of the interest, you completely denies liability of charging of interest, then you may opt for ready. And similar somewhat will be the situation of the disputed penalty under section 2(1)(i). The penalty should not relate to, not levied or leviable in relation to disputed tax, and appeal has been filed. So that way it is section 271 capital B, 271 capital D, 271 capital and so on. And again, if a penalty of concealment and 270A or 271C can also be can be taken to the VSV, provided the disputed tax is not, it does not relate to disputed tax, or we are not disputed the quantum additions. Then we see disputed fees under 2(1)(f), that is 234E and F.